dedicated to southern and eastern Kentucky. This is WYMT Mountain News at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Caroline Mueller. We will get you out to Hillbilly Days in just a moment, but we have breaking news to tell you about first. First responders and police are responding to an active situation in Floyd County. Members with the Offshore Fire Department say the area of Kentucky 321 and Offshore Bridge should be avoided until further notice. We will update this story when more details are available.
Let's go to Hillbilly Days in downtown Pikeville.
All right, we are live here in downtown Pikeville for Hillbilly Days. Of course, we'll keep you updated on that breaking news situation in Floyd County. But here in downtown Pikeville, we've been dealing with a little bit of rain. Fortunately, we're in a little bit of a break right now, but about 45 minutes ago, there was a good shower. Before that, it was pretty nice out here for most of the afternoon. Folks are starting to get back out now that that shower has ended, and we have a lot of folks walking up and down the streets. The streets are wet, but it is dry for the moment, and it looks like on the WYMT weather app that we're going to stay dry maybe for the next little bit. WYMT's Buddy Forbes has been talking to folks out enjoying the festival throughout the day. He's up the street a little bit on Hambly Boulevard. Let's check in now with him live. Buddy.
Yes, Steve, now the streets are full of food, merchandise, and other things as day two of the festival rolls on. Folks have been hitting the pavement since early this morning, packing the streets, the river fill, and the parking garage. And organizers say there are more than 300 vendors represented this year with a little something for every taste. Now, the weather has cooperated most of the day, with families finding ways to beat that heat. But the festival goers say they are looking forward to later tonight when the carnival lights are the star of the show.
No, we're just about to go down and go to the carnival. We're about to go ride some rides, you know, the Ring of Fire.
Now, tourism officials say they have seen a lot of out-of-state people here on this street today. Their booth is just down the street on Hambly Boulevard. They have a map, and they're keeping track of all those people from out of the area. They say that it's nice to see how far people are coming just to take advantage of Pikeville's premier festival. But I'm going to toss it back to you, Steve, because there is some lemonade over here that is calling my name.
All right. Buddy, thank you very much. Definitely a good place to do some people watching down here at Hillbilly Days. But again, the weather is calm for now. We did have a shower move through about 30 minutes ago. We had a little bit of heavy rain for a few minutes, but now it's dried up again, and hopefully it will stay that way for the next little bit. But let's check in back with Hazard and WYMT meteorologist Eric Dean for the latest on where the rain is right now. Eric?
Well, Steve, as you mentioned, it is quiet through Pikeville right now. You can see here on live pinpoint Doppler radar. We'll go ahead and emphasize where Pikeville is right there. You can see all is quiet now. We are keeping an eye on a line to the south and west over towards Harlan and Middlesboro. The track on this is making its way to the east and northeast. So I'm going to keep an eye on this as it starts to push its way through. So if you do have plans to go to Hillbilly Days, make sure you take the rain gear with you just in case you get under a stray shower or two. But right now, all is quiet. Temperatures right now in the 60s and 70s. We're at 66 in Hazard, 67 in Jackson, 70 in Boonville, Pikeville. Look at that, 64 degrees, 67 is the current temperature in Clintwood. So as we help you plan your evening and overnight hours, we'll see that rain and thunderstorm chance continue. We'll see temperatures in the mid-60s as we go into the 1 o'clock time frame, 64 by the time 7 a.m. rolls around. Now, Hillbilly Days will continue tomorrow. We'll have that complete hour-by-hour forecast coming up in the First Alert forecast in a few minutes.
All right, Eric, thank you very much. We've had a blast down here today despite the on and off rain, passing out a lot of these Hillbilly Days buttons. Now, we've torn down our booth, but we still have a few more buttons, so if you come by our bureau here in Pikeville, we might be able to dig up one for you in the next hour or so. And we'll be back here coming up at 6 o'clock with more from downtown Pikeville and Hillbilly Days. But right now, let's go back to the studio in Hazard with Caroline Mueller. She's got some more news for us. Caroline.
All right, Steve, thanks. 4 people are dead after a crash in North Carolina. According to North Carolina State Highway Patrol, the crash happened yesterday in the city of Eden. 4 others were injured as well. One man was driving a dump truck heading north on the road when he failed to stop at a stop sign at an intersection. A Wisconsin judge was arrested after being accused of helping an undocumented immigrant avoid being arrested by federal immigration officials. Milwaukee County Circuit Judge Hannah Dugan is charged with obstruction and concealing the individual from arrest. Dugan was arrested on courthouse grounds. That is where supporters of the judge also gathered, calling for her to be released. Dugan remains in federal custody, awaiting an initial court appearance. The Trump administration is trying to put pressure on Russia and Ukraine to finalize a peace deal. Negotiations are continuing today as Russia launched another strike overnight on Kyiv. CBS's Natalie Brand has the latest reaction from the White House.
Steve Witkoff, President Trump's special envoy, met with Russian President Vladimir Putin Friday for a 4th time to discuss a peace deal with Ukraine.
Russia and Ukraine, I think they're coming along, we hope. Very fragile.
The president said he's not placing a deadline on the talks, but wants to get something done as quickly as possible.
We're going to try and get out of war so that we can save 5,000 people a week. I think we're pretty close.
Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov told CBS News Face the Nation moderator Margaret Brennan he agreed with Trump's assessment that talks are moving in the right direction, but wouldn't discuss details.
We are really polite people, and unlike some others, we never discuss in public what is being discussed in negotiations. Otherwise, negotiations are not serious.
A major sticking point in negotiations is Crimea, seized by Russia in 2014. In a new interview with Time magazine, President Trump said Crimea will stay with Russia. But Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says he cannot accept that because it goes against his country's constitution. Both President Zelensky and Trump will be in Rome for the Pope's funeral on Saturday, where the president says it's possible that they'll talk. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
President Trump called on Zelensky to sign the papers for a rare earths minerals deal with the United States, posting on social media that the Ukrainian president has yet to do so. Trump added that work on the peace deal between Russia and Ukraine is going smoothly and success is in the future. The Trump administration has dropped a multi-state legal challenge which could have impacted thousands of international students. Today, the Trump administration notified the courts and lawyers for the students of the change. Dozens of cases have been filed by international students throughout the country. They sued the administration for action ICE took earlier this month, canceling thousands of international students' immigration records. New additions were added to President Trump's official merchandise website. The items include hats and t-shirts that say Trump 2028. The shirt also says rewrite the rules. Those are references to the 3rd term Trump has teased he might seek. Of course, the Constitution strictly forbids a president from being elected to the White House more than twice. But Trump did say last month there are methods which you could do it. Tens of thousands of people were lined up to get into St. Peter's Basilica in the Vatican today. Folks were trying to pay their final respects to Pope Francis, who died at the age of 88. At one point, about 128,000 people had passed through to pay homage to the pontiff. The Vatican says they are expecting 130 delegations as well as 50 heads of state for tomorrow's funeral, including, as you heard a few moments ago, President Trump and his wife Melania. Former President Joe Biden and former First Lady Jill Biden are also planning to attend Pope Francis's funeral tomorrow. They are among many world leaders headed to Vatican City to pay their respects. Biden met Pope Francis on several occasions over the years. In January, the former president awarded him the Presidential Medal of Freedom with distinction, the nation's highest honor. A federal judge sentenced former Congressman George Santos to more than 7 years in prison on identity theft and wire fraud charges today. He must surrender himself by July 25th. Santos became famous for lying about his work history, education, and even religion when he ran for Congress in 2022. Those fibs turned out to be small potatoes. In August, Santos pleaded guilty to campaign finance, fraud, and other charges. He was kicked out of Congress in 2023. The man accused of killing United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson pleaded not guilty Friday to federal charges. Prosecutors say Luigi Mangione shot Thompson in the back on a sidewalk in Midtown Manhattan last December. A nationwide manhunt ended 5 days later when police caught the 26-year-old in Pennsylvania. The Justice Department is seeking the death penalty.
They're pushing for the death penalty for a number of reasons. First of all, they say the intentionality of this crime, the way that it was premeditated and planned. They also say this took place in Midtown Manhattan. It was meant to make a statement. He is targeting an entire industry.
Mangione already pleaded not guilty to New York state charges. His next federal court appearance is set for December 5th, nearly 1 year to the day of Thompson's murder. A construction company has chosen a location in Greenup County as the site for its new facility. Strasser Construction Company from Columbus, Ohio, announced they have chosen the Greenup-Boyd Riverport in Wurtland as the location of their new facility. It was all made possible by a partnership between the Greenup and Boyd County fiscal courts, the Greenup-Boyd Riverport, the City of Wurtland, and Kentucky Power.
It's a closer location for them, closer to home. Right now, we operate a similar location up in Columbus, Ohio, but again, that requires people to travel, anywhere from 2 to 3 hours up to that location.
The facility will be housed on 4 acres of land at the Riverport. The company says they hope to have the project completed by the end of the year. Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, one legendary NBA player's debut jersey sells for $7 million at an auction.
And we're going to clear out as we go throughout the weekend, but all eyes are on a couple of days next week. Details coming up.